Champions League semi-finals, Inter set up Milan derby, Man City face Real Madrid. It increasingly seems that Inter Milan only bring out their finest performances during the biggest games. While the Italian powerhouse has been horribly ineffective in its domestic league, having lost 4 of their past 5 games in Serie A to drop out of the top 4, their record in the Champions League is a different story. Simone Inzaghi's side defied the odds to qualify from the group of death, that also included German champions Bayern Munich and Spanish giants Barcelona, and have now secured a historic semi-final date with arch-rivals AC Milan, who eliminated Napoli on Tuesday, after knocking out Portuguese juggernauts Porto and Benfica. Leading 2-0 from the first leg last week, Inter drew 3-3 with Benfica on Wednesday to win their quarter-final 5-3 on aggregate. It will be the team's first semi-final appearance since 2010, when they won the showpiece event under Jose Mourinho. It is also the first time 2 Italian clubs have made it to the Final Four of Europe's elite football competition since 2003. Inter and Milan have met 3 times this season, with the former coming out on top in one Serie A game and the Italian Super Cup, while the latter emerged triumphant in the league. It will be a special derby, said Argentina World Cup winner Lautaro Martinez, who netted Inter's second goal against Benfica. We all know what this game means, to play a Milan derby in the Champions League semis. Happiness is the word. I'm so proud to represent this crest and this great club which is back to where it belongs. The Milan derby will take place at the San Siro in the first leg on May 10th and on May 16th in the second leg. The winners will take on title holders Real Madrid or English champions Manchester City, who clash in the semi-finals for the second season in a row. Pep Guardiola's star-studded side secured their well-deserved semi-final spot thanks to a 1-1 draw with Bayern Munich on Wednesday that was enough to see them march through 4-1 on aggregate. Erling Haaland missed a penalty, but he still made Bayern pay as he put the tie beyond doubt in the second half with a smart finish into the top corner. That was the Norwegian's 48th goal for City this season, and at the age of 22 years and 272 days, he breaks Kylian Mbappe's record as the youngest player to score 35 career Champions League goals. All the clubs in the world have the feeling that if you want to win this competition you have to beat Real Madrid. It used to be Barcelona but now it's Madrid, said City manager Pep Guardiola, who becomes the first manager to reach double digits in Champions League semi-final appearances. We were fortunate before the penalty miss. They had 1 or 2 chances and anything could happen, but we defended really well. Haaland, will learn how to do it. He's 22 years old and he's an incredible machine. He wanted to take it but he'll learn in the future. Next up for City is a FA Cup semi-final against Sheffield United. We are exhausted. I don't know how we will recover, observed Guardiola. Now is a tough moment for the game on Saturday, but we have to play then as Manchester United play in the Europa League, so play Brighton and Hove Albion in the FA Cup on Sunday. Manchester City withstand Bayern to keep treble dreams alive, but were Real Madrid given a blueprint? Manchester City secured their spot in the semi-finals of the Champions League as their 1-1 draw against Bayern Munich on Wednesday night at the Allianz Arena was enough to see them go through 4-1 on aggregate. City held a 3-0 advantage heading into the second leg, leaving Bayern Munich manager Thomas Tuchel calling for a footballing miracle to occur. At stages in the first half Bayern looked like they could threaten a remarkable fight back as they tested City's resolve with some quick-fire attacks, but it was City who should have gone into the break in the lead as Erling Haaland blazed a penalty over the bar following Dayot Upamecano's handball. It was Haaland who put the tie beyond doubt in the second half as he converted from close range to give City a 4-goal advantage overall. Bayern continued to chip away and had a Mathys Tel goal disallowed for offside and eventually broke through City's defense thanks to a Joshua Kimmich penalty in the 83rd minute after Manuel Akanji's handball. Tuchel grew increasingly frustrated with the officials and was eventually shown a second yellow card with 5 minutes left and dispatched to the stands. City will now face Real Madrid in the Champions League semi-finals, with the first leg on May 9th followed by the return on May 16th. Guardiola salutes exhausted Man City after sealing Champions League semi-final spot. Pep Guardiola felt exhausted. Manchester City showed they are streetwise in the Champions League as they reached the semi-finals with a 4-1 aggregate win over Bayern Munich. 8 days after winning the first leg 3-0 at the Etihad Stadium, the Premier League champions drew 1-1 at Allianz Arena to set up a tie against holders Real Madrid. Erling Haaland missed a first-half penalty, but scored his 48th goal of the season after the break to put City ahead the night. Joshua Kimmich denied City an 11th successive victory late on after a second harsh penalty award of the game. Manuel Akanji punished for what was adjudged to be handball. City are in the hunt for a Champions League, Premier League and FA Cup treble after advancing to a third successive European semi-final. Guardiola, who took charge of the Premier League champions for a 400th time when he came up against his former club Bayern on Wednesday, feels their experience is standing them in good stead. He told BT Sport, "We struggled in the first half. Dayot Upamecano broke all the lines down our left side and we struggled with Kingsley Coman. We were fortunate before the penalty miss, they had 1 or 2 chances and anything could happen, but we defended really well. The finishing from Erling was really good. He is so young. The experience that we have in this competition, the players feel it a lot, they want to do it really well. The second half was much better since minute 1. City faced Championship side Sheffield United in an FA Cup semi-final on Saturday and Guardiola is concerned fatigue will be an issue. He added, "We are exhausted. I don't know how we recover to play against Sheffield United in the FA Cup semi-final. Now is a tough moment for the game on Saturday, but we have to play then as Manchester United play in the Europa League, so play Brighton and Hove Albion in the FA Cup on Sunday." Sevilla vs Manchester United preview, prediction, probable lineups, tactics, team news and key stats. Manchester United will look to reach the UEFA Europa League semi-finals when they take on Sevilla at the Ramon Sanchez Pizjuan Stadium on Thursday. The curtains will fall on the round of 16 of the UEFA Europa League on Thursday after the 4 second-leg fixtures. The marquee matchup will see Sevilla welcoming Manchester United to the Ramon Sanchez Pizjuan Stadium, with the tie level after the first leg. Sevilla dropped to the UEFA Europa League after failing to finish among the top 2 in Group G of the UEFA Champions League. They then narrowly beat PSV Eindhoven and Fenerbahce to reach the quarter-finals. The Andalusian Giants are the Europa League team and will fancy their chances. But their recent form has been sketchy as they have won only 2 of their last games. On the other hand, Manchester United had to take the scenic route to the knockout stages after finishing second behind Real Sociedad in Group E. They then beat Barcelona in the playoff stage before easing past Real Betis in the round of 16. And the Red Devils have gradually improved this month, completing 3 Premier League wins in a row this past weekend by beating Nottingham Forest. The first leg ended in a 2-2 draw after Manchester United took a 2-goal lead by the 21st minute. But 2 late own goals were the Red Devils' undoing, with Sevilla setting up a must-win second leg. The Hard Tackle takes a closer look at the encounter ahead of the latest meeting between the two sides. Leroy Sane and Sadio Mane in awkward exchange after Bayern Munich dressing room fight. Sadio Mane replaced Leroy Sane, the 2 players who were involved in an altercation last week, in an awkward moment for Bayern Munich against Man City on Wednesday. Sadio Mane and Leroy Sane shared an awkward change as the former Liverpool forward replaced his teammate in Wednesday's Champions League clash against Manchester City. Mane, 31, was returning to action after being suspended by the German champions for last weekend's Bundesliga action after allegedly hitting Sane following their 3-0 Champions League defeat at the Etihad last Tuesday. The former Liverpool forward was excluded from Bayern's Bundesliga game against Hoffenheim at the Allianz Arena as punishment alongside a hefty fine. Mirror Football exclusively revealed last week that Mane has been grieving the death of his aunt following her passing in Senegal, prior to the bust-up. Sane is said to have spoken to his teammates subsequently to underline his desire to move on from it. Mane was fined €350,000 for his conduct, with President Herbert Hainer saying of the decision that, "The fine hurts him, even with his salary." Boss Thomas Tuchel underlined, "It was a heavy incident, it was very important that it was cleared before the next training session." The former Chelsea coach added, "I've known Sadio for many years, he is a top professional. He's never had a situation like that. He is focused on football, he has my full confidence. Everybody has the right to make a mistake. This was too much, he apologized, and I believe him. It was important that he stays in training, but he is suspended and he will be fined. I don't know where the money will go, the club and the player will decide. It is not my highest priority. It would be nice if things that happened in the locker room stayed in there. We don't need situations like that to prove our squad is alive. We don't tolerate things like that. Mane was back in action for Wednesday's visit of City for the second leg, but he was not included from the start, as Sane started in an attack including Eric Maxim Choupo-Moting and Kingsley Coman. However, the Senegal international did replace the former City forward in the second half. It was an uneasy moment, where Mane attempted to give his teammate a double high five, but Sane, who was clearly irritated from his side trailing on the night and on the verge of elimination from the competition, ignored this, instead just lowly slapping the incoming forward's hand. Mane joined Bayern Munich in a £35.1 million deal from the Reds last summer. The experienced forward pulled the curtain down on 6 trophy-laden seasons at Anfield after making it clear he wanted a new challenge, but it has not gone to plan. The Senegalese star hit 120 goals for Liverpool in 269 appearances and collected 6 major honours during his time in Jurgen Klopp's side, whose form has nosedived in the first season without the former Southampton forward in their ranks. Yet for Mane, it has been a transition away from the club. He has found the net just 6 times in the Bundesliga this campaign and has struggled with both fitness and form in recent months. That form, coupled with this unsavory incident, led to suggestions that he may be leaving the club just a year after his arrival. Real Madrid keeping tabs on Mikel Arteta. Mikel Arteta has reportedly emerged as a target for Real Madrid to replace Carlo Ancelotti if the Italian departs the Santiago Bernabéu. According to Fishages, Real Madrid could look at Mikel Arteta to replace Carlo Ancelotti. The Italian remains linked with a move away, and nothing's decided about his future yet. The report suggests the Spanish giants could sound out the Arsenal boss regarding taking over. After a large period of turbulence, Mikel Arteta seems settled in his role at Arsenal. The Gunners' boss did not arrive at the club at the best of times, with fans even calling for his head after a disastrous start to the previous season. Since then, Arteta has turned things around in a massive way and has his side challenging for the Premier League title. In the latter stages of last season, Arsenal offered him a new contract, and the Premier League manager duly obliged by penning the new deal. Arsenal hopes for Arteta to stay and continue building the project alongside technical director Edu Gaspar. The fans certainly believe the current project will take off to bigger avenues and want their former captain to continue leading away. However, there are clubs in the market looking closely at Arteta to become their new manager. Manchester City have long remained linked with appointing the Premier League manager as Pep Guardiola's successor. They could even wait a few years before bringing the Arsenal boss back to the club. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, like and share. See you again with more news. Bye for now.